Hi everybody, I'm Beebs Kelley. Thank you for joining me for another fashion edition. We already ranked 10 looks from the Oscars. We did our ranking game. If you missed that video, I will link it for you here. So let's take a look at a few of the celebrities who didn't make it into that video, starting with Miley Cyrus wearing McQueen and these gorgeous lace gloves. Now, I love these gloves. I love the jewelry. The makeup, I'm not so much of a fan of the whole minimal eyebrow look. That's not my favorite. But her hair looks gorgeous. I don't love this dress. I love the top portion of this dress. This is gorgeous and it fits her really nicely. But then this matte black sort of spiky portion in a drop waist element and a sheer skirt just are not working for me or for her. She can lean a little bit rectangular or inverted triangle. Her widest point is her shoulders. And because of that matte section, your eye is immediately drawn to that area. And it just makes the entire lower body from the hips down look awkward and too narrow compared to her shoulder line. So this was not a good match for her body type. And it also came across a little messy the way the skirt was. Susan and Robert Downey Jr. look lovely, both in their giant platform shoes. I think this dress is really nice on her. It's pretty. Laura Dern, one of the best of the evening. This is great. I don't like the split hem trousers at all, though. I think those just need to go. But I love the contrast of this sheer top and the lacy element to her top with the giant man pants, because they don't look too giant. They're hemmed properly and they're reined in with this cummerbund here. But the sheer lacy top brings the femininity back, and it's a great contrast to those trousers. So that looks great. Kelly Ripa's dress is not a great body type match for her. As you can see, she's quite rectangular throughout her torso. And so something that had a little bit more flare to the skirt, a little bit more volume to the skirt would have been more balancing to her. But also the way the bust line is done here looks a little squashy. It looks like it's erasing things a little bit. So I think she would have benefited from something that had just a little bit more softness to it, or at the very least, a little more volume to the skirt. However, this color, this coral orange, is incredibly challenging to pull off, and she looks amazing in it. So credit for that. Adrian Brody is wearing Giorgio Armani and looks impeccable. This is great. I love the pin that he has. I really hope to see more of those in the coming years. Joe Locke looks like a conductor. I don't think these gray trousers go well with the sparkly vest that he has underneath the waistcoat. It's not working together very nicely. He should have stuck with black trousers or something. I don't know, but these don't go well enough together. But I like the attempt, and the silhouette is different, which is great. It's always nice to see something new and different, but it still needs to go together. It still needs to look good. Isabella Rossellini in Dolce & Gabbana. This is great for her. This looks so much nicer than the red outfit that she had. This crushed velvet looks pretty on her. I have no complaints. Coleman Domingo wearing Valentino. Nice. I like this. I like the sash. I like the color. I think this is a nice bold choice and well done, well fitted. Goldie Hawn is wearing Dolce & Gabbana, and this is, again, not a great match for her. You'll notice the triangle drape coming down from the bust line kind of just draws your eye right there to the belly, which is not the most flattering spot to draw the eye, and it almost looks a little bulky, like it's added weight to her belly. This would have been a lot more successful if that drape just came diagonally and came down from a hip. When you have an asymmetrical feature like a drape that comes over to one hip, it tends to slenderize your waistline and keeps the eye following those diagonal lines over to the side and then down. And so it enhances your vertical line more. The vertical line here is interrupted by the gathering from the hips, and it draws the eye off to the side, which takes it away from the width of the waistline. So if you are somebody who's maybe a little plus sized or deals with a tummy, find something that drapes off to the side. Diagonal lines across the torso, draping from the side, creating a vertical line is always going to be a lot more flattering and slimming than something like this. But she looks amazing. It's just not the most flattering technique in terms of, enhancing her beauty. Michelle Yeoh is still wearing Balenciaga Couture. I do not like that she's wearing Balenciaga. Maybe she doesn't know what happened. Somebody tell her. This blue color is stunning on her. I cannot say that enough. This is an amazing color on Michelle, and the necklace is perfect choice. The dress itself looks a little bit messy throughout the waist and below the waistline. It looks wrinkled. It looks not so great. And it's Balenciaga, so boo. We don't like it. Gayle King went heavy on the shoulder pads. Not a fan of that. She needed a better smoothing layer as well, and the shoes don't match well enough. That was a bit of a fail. Rita Wilson's dress is far too casual here. This doesn't vibe. Yeah, it looks really cash. It looks like just a day dress you would wear around the house, maybe, or on a beach. Don't love it. Maybe more jewelry might have elevated it a little bit. I like her hair and makeup. Maybe like a pendant necklace right about here or some statement earrings. But yeah, it's also a little frumpy, unfortunately. Pauline Chalamet, I think that's Timothee's mom. This is nice. It's a little bit bulky and stiff. It's hanging quite heavy throughout the skirt portion. And the square neckline of it is kind of adding to a widening effect. I think she would have been more flattered by a V-neck or sweetheart neckline or something with a little bit more flow to the skirt. Still nice and polished though. I quite like Andrew Garfield's new vibe of wearing satin shirts under all of his tuxedos and suits. I think that he's pulling it off great. I like this brown monochrome look. This is elongating and slimming to go for a monochrome look in this way. It enhances a nice strong vertical line for him, and it looks nice and polished and fits him well. It's much better than the wider leg or split hem trousers that he attempted one time. Meg Ryan's burgundy velvet dress is very pretty. This column gown has a straight strapless neckline, which is preventing the look of it falling down, which is really nice, but it does look a little vacant up here, so perhaps a bold pendant necklace would have been a nice touch. Ana de Armas Louis Vuitton dress is quite pretty here. I think it would have been more flattering as an updo. It would have elongated her up out of this. That has a lot of the detail and weight right here along her chest area with this silver, lacy, beautiful neckline. It's gorgeous. I absolutely love this. She's a little bit pear-shaped, so she carries more weight around the hip area, the upper thigh area. So this is actually really great visual balance for her figure by having the halter neckline and the embellishments all up here. It's adding visual weight without having to use volume to create balance. I do wish she went for an updo though. Scarlett Johansson sort of stepped outside her usual comfort zone. She usually dresses in really modern looking pieces, or column gowns are a big go-to for her. This velvet is gorgeous. This dark blue velvet is just so beautiful, and I love that the opera gloves match perfectly. She went with very simple hair, makeup, and jewelry. My only complaint is that she's an hourglass, and so she's bustier. The weight of this velvet drape across her shoulder looks messy and far too heavy. This would have been so much more flattering to her if it would have had a clean neckline, not draped, because it just added too much weight and it looks bulky. It looks stiff and not as flattering as it should. She deserved something a little bit more graceful to the top. And this is something that hourglasses is you have to keep in mind if you're an hourglass. You don't want to add anything that's really stiff, really bulky, and really heavy on top of your chest or on top of your hips, because it's going to look too much on your frame. Because you have a very balanced frame, those well-defined waistlines and whatnot. We cannot add anything that's stiff and bulky and heavy to either of the areas that have curve. It's too much. Now, if you need to balance out, like if this skirt had a lot more flare to it and a lot more weight to it, it would have been fine. If this skirt had more fabric and really flared out in a more A-line design, then that bulk up here would have balanced it out and her waistline would have looked all the more defined. But because the skirt is relatively simple and doesn't have too much weight and doesn't have a lot of flare and swish to it, then the neckline ended up too heavy and bulky for her, unfortunately. Lily Rose Depp's dress is okay. I really wanted to like this one because I appreciate that there is ruffles added to the hip line, which helps to balance out her figure really nicely. It made her waist look more well defined, but the halter style top looks too small for she is exploding out of it a tad. And the sheer skirt element of it and just came across a little bit messy on this one, unfortunately. This is Chanel Haute Couture, and it just didn't work. Ryan Michelle Bath in a sort of crushed metallic dress. This column gown with a big dramatic train is gorgeous. This is really, really pretty. This is a gorgeous color and tone on her. It defines her figure nicely. It's not throwing her off balance. As you can see, that straight across strapless is far more successful than the other attempts because it doesn't look like it's falling down. While this crushed texture to the fabric might not be everybody's taste, some might read it as quite messy, it's really quite beautiful, and I'm sure in person very, very stunning. This is well done from a construction perspective. This is incredibly well done. Jeremy Strong is going for this sort of olivey colored suit. This is quite nice. I like this. This is something different. He could have done with slightly less bulk to the torso area or more weight to the trousers, like just a slightly looser fit to the trousers perhaps, because the way the neckline is with the lapel, it's creating a lot of visual weight up here, and he looks a tad bit top heavy. But other than that, it's quite nice. Margaret Qualley looking a little peculiar here. I don't love the hairstyle. It's a bit awkward. And this dress has so much weight across the shoulders that it's making a very inverted triangle shape. It's really leaning into that silhouette, and it just looks a little too top heavy. I think that this would have been more successful in a lighter color perhaps, or just a different silhouette. It's a little too top heavy for her. This is Chanel. Guy Pearce looks really nice in his classic tux. Nothing wrong with that. Doja Cat's dress is not a success for me. This is Balmain. I don't mind animal print dress on any red carpet, quite frankly. That is not my problem with it. I think patterns are fun and can add a lot of interest. My problem with this is the way the bust line is sitting. It's got a very dramatic sweetheart that has this plunge feature to it. And as you can see, her cleavage isn't lining up with the dress itself. So again, we have that problem where there's either an issue with the fit and it's slipping and moving around, or the padding doesn't line up with where she's been taped in place. And so it's creating a really awkward effect around the bust line. So this one, unfortunately, I cannot say was pulled off. She could have elevated it with some opera gloves. I'm also not loving the makeup on this particular look. So the styling was a bit off as well. Timothée Chalamet is wearing a Givenchy sort of citrus yellow suit here. It looks to be jeans with a suit jacket and a sort of satiny, silky shirt underneath. I think it's fine. It's quirky, it's different, it's new, it fits him really nicely. I think it's okay. I thought I would hate it, but the more I see it, I'm like, yeah, that's all right. What do you think? I think that one's going to be one of the most polarizing of the evening. Edgar Ramirez is got a velvet dinner jacket or suit jacket with a satin lapel. I like his little bow tie. I do think that he should have gone with a heavier weight to his trousers because he's looking a little top heavy here. Those velvet suit jackets that Prince William sort of brought back to life and made popular a few years ago when he wore that green velvet one to Earthshot, and then he wore a velvet one to BAFTAs as well. They are wonderful suit jackets, but they need to be perfectly fitted, and you have to be mindful that they are going to add visual weight because they're a little bit more stiff, they're a little bit more heavy, and they have texture to them. They're luscious, they look expensive and lovely, but if you carry more weight in your upper body, then they are going to be something that you have to balance out with your trousers, or if you're a lady, with your skirt, because they just become too top heavy or look too bulky if you're not careful. But it was a nice attempt, for sure. Marissa Bode's red dress is quite pretty, but I do think it would have been more flattering to have less volume out to the side and have it come down, the hemline come down just a little bit lower in the front would have been a little bit more flattering for her, because this created a focal point of the front where the satin lining of the dress is really eye-catching and sort of competing with things, and her exposed legs are creating more of a focal point than her face, which is not fair. So it would have been nicer if she would have had a little bit more length to that front hemline and a softer drape to the fabric where it wasn't hanging off to the side so dramatically and stiffly. Lisa wearing Mark Gong. This is really cute. I quite love this, actually. The very dramatic silhouette here. This is a lot of fun, but it nips in at her waistline perfectly and it's tailored throughout, so it's not overwhelming her figure. It's not bulking her up. It's all well balanced. What a fun and different take on wearing a more menswear style for a lady. This is nice. It's like a cool hybrid between the trouser and blazer and a dress. It's great. I love this unexpectedly. And I think that her hairstyle worked perfectly for it because it's all back and off the shoulder line. If she would have had it coming up and over her shoulders, it would have been way too overwhelming. This is great. I'm surprised I liked that much. Lupita Nyong'o has had some misses the last couple times I've seen her on the red carpet. She's wearing Chanel Haute Couture. And again, we just have this awkward bust line situation going on. Designers, please stop screwing up the boobs. It's not fair. This would have been pretty if it didn't have this awkward chopping her boob in half element. This would have been pretty. I do not like that approach. It just creates an awkward proportion. Chopping the boob in half is never a good idea. Does it need to be said? Apparently. If you erase that part and you just look from under the bust line down, it's really beautiful and perfect and cute. And I love the bows. I love the sort of coquettish feminine touches to that, but it just ruined the bust line, so it's ruined. Her is wearing Ralph Lauren, and I do not like this. The skirt looks messy as all get out. This is the way the fabric is supposed to be. It's supposed to look sort of wrinkly, but that's never a good option for the red carpet because it's going to just come across as carelessly wrinkly, not on purpose, not intentional. And the belt concept, I feel like this just would have been better suited to like the Grammys or something like that. I don't think this is Oscar's material here, but the bodice fits her really nicely. As you can see, that straight across is helping combat the spillage that she has, but she does have some spillage. So this is pretty bad, pretty rough. Vic Carmen Son, I hope I pronounced that right, wearing Louis Vuitton. This is pretty. This orangish color is hard to pull off. I'm not sure it's exactly working for her, or it might be because it's clashing with the sort of rose gold backdrop of this Oscars background here. It's kind of clashing with that, or it might just be washing her out. I can't tell. Help me out in the comments. The asymmetrical drape of this is nice. She looks to have a pretty rectangular body type, lacking that well-defined waist. So this is a good option to bring in an element of softness to help incorporate something with a bit of curve to help balance out a more straight body type. So that's a good technique. It also looks to be hemmed properly and fitting her nice. Just questionable on whether it is the right color. I also wish she would have done a slightly different hairstyle. I think more curl, a more feminine hairstyle would have been nicer than the sort of beach wave. It looks a little flat compared to the dress. And last one for today, we have Hannah's stocking. This is one of the few strapless gowns that doesn't look like it's falling down in this picture. It's a very dramatic silhouette. I don't know that it's as well done as some others, but it's a good attempt. It's fine. It's just fine. Thank you for joining me for today's fashion edition. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back with more next week. If you like fashion editions, be sure to click the like button and subscribe because I put out a new fashion edition every single Friday. Friday fashion editions. It's a thing. And if you're subscribed, you won't miss it. And if you click that like button, I'll know that you like this type of content and want to continue seeing it. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a happy day ahead and I will see you next time. Bye.